Hey book lovers, Kaylee here, and welcome back to the Enchanted Library. As you are watching this video, spring has finally sprung, so why not give you guys a rundown of the books that I got last season? That's right folks, it's a book haul, and these are the books that I got in January, February, and March. I will give a disclaimer though, I did not buy all of these books. Some of them I actually got with gift cards, and then I also had a book given to me, which I will get to that as well, but I just want to let you know I did not buy all of these books. In no particular order of when I actually got them, I'm going to start off with the book that I actually purchased and finished already, and that is Everless by Sara Holland. If you did watch my readathon vlog, you may already have seen this book, because I did end up starting it during my readathon, and I finished it, I think, the week after, just because I didn't really have enough time to devote to it. But I really enjoyed this book. I'm not going to give a full review of it now because I might actually save that for another video. But what this story is about is actually it follows our main character, Jules, and she essentially wants to buy more time for her father. Because if you aren't familiar, this book actually makes blood, like your life force, currency. So in order to pay for land or for food or anything like that, you actually have to bleed yourself for coin. The whole system is actually really well realized, and I appreciate the effort that Sara Holland put into it because she really thought it through. Anyway, we have Jules. She actually wants to buy more time for her father because he's been paying for everything with his own life force, and she does not want to see him deplete any more of his time. So she actually goes back to an estate that they lived at when she was younger to work and actually gain time. But really, that is just the setup for a story that is much, much bigger. Like, I was not expecting it to go where it went, so I was very pleased with this book. I'm very excited for the next book to come out, and I really recommend it. The next two books I'm actually going to put together because it's the first and the second in a series, and I will preface this by saying it's a series that I'm not going to finish. If you saw my other video about my Stalking Jack the Ripper rant review, you know that I do not want to finish this series, but I ended up buying the first two books anyway, so I have to include them in this haul. So the first one is Stalking Jack the Ripper, and the next one is Hunting Prince Dracula, and those are by Keri Maniscalco. I'm not going to really get into these books so much right now. I didn't read Hunting Prince Dracula because I could not finish Stalking Jack the Ripper, and that is really all I'm going to say about that. If you are interested in this book series, I mean, give it a try at your own risk. It's disappointing. But anyway, yeah, it follows this girl and her journey to really uncover who Jack the Ripper is. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. On to a happier note, the next book is actually one that I won in a Twitter contest through Indigo Teen. And if you're not from Canada, Indigo, or Chapters/Indigo, is actually one of our biggest retailer, the biggest retailer in Canada of books. And their Twitter team at Indigo Teen was doing a giveaway where you basically had to give them a book that you want to see turned into a film and give your reasoning. So I actually used Everless as my answer for it, and I ended up winning a copy of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and I'm so excited because I was going to get this book anyway because I want to read it before I see the movie, and I won it, so I am really happy about that. If you don't know what this book is about, I'm gonna assume that you've been living under a rock for the last 5 months or so, because this has taken the internet by storm and the world by storm, and I'm really, really happy about it. But basically it follows the story of Simon in high school, and he has a secret, and his secret is that he is actually gay. So he does not want anybody else to know, so he's been keeping the secret to himself, and it's basically his journey about coming out, and I just think that is such a cool story. And I was trying to rack my brain, but I don't think I've read a book with like a homosexual character, or main character I should say. I've been trying to think about it, and I mean there have been some that are hinted at, but not outwardly so. So I'm very happy that I have this book to start reading a lot more diverse reads, because that is something that I unfortunately am lacking in, but this seems like it'll be a great kickoff to that. And I would like to give a big thank you to Indigo Teen on Twitter for giving me this book. It got to me super, super quick. I also think that my friend Tara over at the Three Bookshelves, I think she and I are going to do a buddy read for this one. That might not come up until like maybe a month from now, but I know that we both have it, we both want to read it, so it'd be cool to do a first buddy read with this book. The next book I picked up is actually partially in thanks to ITV's miniseries Victoria, and I'm in love with that show. And I wanted to know a lot more about Queen Victoria because I learned a little bit in school, and there was a little bit of research that I had done on my own a couple years ago just out of curiosity, and then my mom got really into it and she actually turned me on to the show, and now I picked up Victoria, and that is by Daisy Goodwin, and she is actually the main writer on the show Victoria, so getting the book that she wrote to accompany the show it just seems perfect, because she had done so much research on Queen Victoria in order to, I think it was either for her own curiosity or as part of school or something, she had done all of this research, and it ended up working out that she wrote a ton of papers and things on Victoria, and this is basically the show but in book form. So I always love the book version of something, and when it's a writer that wrote the show, that's even better. So I'm very excited to get into this, because I also love historical fiction, but this is really based on true events and filling in the blanks of things, but the fact that Victoria kept a journal every night for like ever gives a lot of information that is useful in something like this, that you can really get a really amazing picture of what her life was like. And I'm really impressed with Victoria as a person, and I want to read more about her, so I picked this up. Alright, this next book I am very late to the game on, because the last book in this trilogy just came out, but I surprisingly hadn't really heard of it until I delved a bit more into BookTube, and I'm intrigued by the premise and how it's written. But that book is actually Illuminae, and then this is written by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. It really intrigues me. Like, it's written all in documents and chats and messages, and there's redacted parts, and it's really interesting, and I'm intrigued to figure out how the story weaves in that sort of a way of writing. Also, this dust cover is super cool because it has like little see-through bits that you can actually see the hardcover underneath, and I just thought that was really cool. It's hard to describe, but I think, from what I understand, there's a plague that happens, and there is a guy and a girl, Ezra and Katie, and Katie or Caddy, I think it's Katie, and they split up, but throughout the events of this story, they actually have to come back together to figure out what's going on with the world and how to fix things. So, I mean, I think for the most part, I am intrigued to follow a storyline that's written in this format. And then after this, it's Gemina, and then Obsidio. And I've been hearing rave reviews about these books, so I'm pumped to read this. And this last book is one that I have been waiting over a year for. On release day, I went to Chapters, but alas, they only had the paperback version of this book, which blew my mind. There wasn't even a listing of them even expecting hardcovers, and the rest of my series was in hardcover, so I needed to make sure I got it in hardcover. And what that meant is I had to actually order it online and wait for it to come in, which delayed my binge reading. But it finally arrived, and I am super excited, and that book is This Fallen Prey by Kelley Armstrong. Now, this is actually a mystery kind of thriller series that Kelley Armstrong put out a few years ago, and it's the Casey Duncan series. basically what happens here is there is a place in the Yukon that is completely cut off from the rest of the world, and all of these people find refuge there. They can be either good people escaping a bad situation or bad people just trying to get away because they have the money to actually get up there. And I mean, you can imagine all of the people that are coming together in this town where you don't know anybody's history, you don't even know people's real names, and anything can happen. So she's actually the homicide detective up there, Casey is, and she has to solve any crimes or any murders that happen up in that mysterious place called Rockton. And I'm just super excited to read this book. I binge read these stories. Like, the first one came out, I read it in less than a day, second one, same situation, and then I have to wait a year for it to come out with the next one. It's just so upsetting, but I finally have it and I'm very, very excited, and I'm probably gonna read this tonight because, I mean, why not? I've been waiting on it for so long, and I'm pumped to see what Casey gets up to next, because she's a badass. Like, she can handle herself, which I really appreciate. And there is a little bit of a love story in there too, so that satisfies that need, and for the most part it's just epically fun. Alright, so those are all of the books that I picked up for the start of this year. I don't even know really what I'm going to call this video because it's a book haul, but it's like a seasonal book haul. Be sure to comment down below if you have read any of these books, or if there were any interesting books that you picked up for the start of the year going into spring, and possibly even what book you're going to be reading next, because I think it's going to be this Fall and Prey by Kelley Armstrong for me, because I've been waiting on that book for so long, and I know I'm just gonna blast right through it. And be sure to share this video with your friends, like and subscribe. And actually, speaking of subscribing, we're like 2 people away from hitting 100 subscribers on my channel, and I am so grateful, because what that means is that you guys are liking my videos and you're sharing it with your friends, and it's great. I love spending time in the comments too, replying to your messages and chatting about books, so always chat down below because I go through them every week. But yeah, 2 away from 100. We're at 98 subscribers, and that it blows my mind. And I'm super stoked too, because as soon as you hit 100 you can make a custom URL, so that just makes it even easier to share. So I can just be like, hey, go to YouTube/user/the Enchanted Library and you'll find me, instead of user/y21x _-3542W. That just doesn't have a really good ring to it, so it's gonna be a lot easier to share with you guys, and I'm really pumped about that. As always, my links are down below as well if you want to follow me on Twitter, which I've actually become a lot more vocal on Twitter lately, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I had a super nice quick chat with Daniel H. Wilson, who wrote The Clockwork Dynasty, which I just finished reading, and I have so much fun over on Twitter. Then there's obviously my Instagram, my Goodreads, my website, which it's not quite updated, but I might be doing something with that in like the next couple of months, so I'm still leaving it linked down below. And yeah, my Goodreads, all that fun stuff, so be sure to follow me around the web, and until next time, keep reading.